What is up, people, and welcome back to my Rags to Riches F1 2010 to 2014 career mode. This is the career mode where we go from one of the worst teams in F1 2010, work our way up through the ranks and through the teams, and try and get a drive for one of the best teams in F1 2014. We're currently in the F1 2014 season at the Austrian Grand Prix for round 8, and if you have missed any of the previous episodes, go catch up with the card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. You will find the previous episode at the Canadian Grand Prix. Definitely go check that out if you haven't already seen it, and if you have missed any of this series so far, you will find the playlist up there as well. But looking at the standings after 7 rounds of this season, we're in P3 at the moment, 2 wins under our belt, 89 points and 48 points behind the championship leader of Lewis Hamilton. It's very close at the moment between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, which is really good news right now. Looking at the emails going into today's race then, so race information for Austria, dry during the whole weekend, which is exactly what we want to see. And we are, at the moment, we are actually winning the teammate challenge against Fernando Alonso. So after a shaky start of the season, it's now 4-3 in out race, drawing on podiums. He's beating me on out qualified, fair enough to him, 6-1 at the moment, but we are starting to get better in the qualifying sessions. Fastest laps is 4-3, and championship points 89 to 80. Anything else that we really need to look at? The race data for Canada, if you want to see that, and our second win of the season at the Canadian Grand Prix, so very happy with that. But without any further ado, let's head over to the race weekend for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's that time again then. It's one-shot qualifying time. This time at the Austrian Grand Prix for round 8 of the 2014 season. We come across the line and we get this lap underway. What can we do at the Austrian Grand Prix? Breaking the 100-meter board, getting it turned in for turn 1. Okay, maybe cutting the corner a little bit, but we lost quite a lot of time actually by sliding through turn 1. Fingers crossed though that we can actually get a good lap here today. And it looks like so far so good. We are purple through sector 1. Looks like this car is very good in a straight line at the moment. We've got it set up for straight line speed, obviously, but we might lose some time through the corners. Right then, how are we going to do through this double left-hander then? I'm not too sure. I haven't done this before, so I'm not too sure how to take that. That wasn't too bad at the end of the day. What are we doing? We are only 29 thousandths down on Lewis Hamilton's time, so he may actually get the chance of getting... Oh my god, do not do that, John-Eric Verne. Do not do that to me on this flying hot lap. No, run it wide into the penultimate corner, down towards the final corner now. Running it wide once again, down towards the line. What is the time going to be good enough for, though? Will it be pole position? No, it won't. It's way off the pace, down in 12th position. That is not a good qualifying session here today, and that looks like it's going to be our finishing position. There we go then, 12th place for this Austrian Grand Prix. Not quite as quick as we have been in the last 2 races, unfortunately, but it just means we get to have more fun. We're only 1.1 seconds off the pace at the end of the day. We're very quick through Sector 1 and Sector 2. We messed up into the final sector, so as long as I brake a little bit earlier into those 2 corners, I will have the chance of working my way through the field. So we're going to have some fun in the race, starting from P12 and trying to work our way up through the rest of the drivers. What can we do though from 12th on the grid? We're just going to have to wait and see. As Lewis Hamilton, he gets pole position ahead of Nico Rosberg by 66 thousandths of a second. Daniel Ricciardo is in 3rd with Sebastian Vettel 4th, and it's Alonso in 5th, Massa 6th, Hülkenberg 7th, Valtteri Bottas in 8th, Kevin Magnussen 9th, and Sergio Perez rounds out the top 10 with Jenson Button just ahead of me in P11. Any surprises in qualifying? No, not really. So let's find out what we do in today's race. It's race day for today's Austrian Grand Prix, starting a little bit further down the field than we would have liked, especially after the 2 qualifying sessions that we have had in the last 2 races. But P12 isn't too bad. It's in the midfield, and it just means we get to have some fun in today's race. So fingers crossed we can do just that. Race strategy for today, starting on the option tyres, pitting for the primes on lap 7. And of this 18-lap race teammate challenge, unfortunately, Fernando Alonso once again out-qualifying me. 7-1 at the moment in that little battle, but hopefully we can do something against him here today to maybe make it 4 out of 5, because we are joint on podiums. We just need to have a solid race and a good comeback. We might be able to get that 4th green box there. Anything else to talk about? No, not really. 0% chance of rain. So let's head down to the track and get today's race underway. There is Lewis Hamilton, who once again takes back his pole position spot. That is 7 pole positions out of 8 so far this season. We've got Alonso, I think he's in 5th place for today's race, and myself way down the field in P12. My engineer telling me we're lower than expected. You know, I can take that at the end of the day as we go to 5 red lights. It is lights out, and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. Straight away moving over to the left-hand side to get out of the way of Sergio Perez. Where are we going to go? Who are we going to go on the attack of? Nico Hülkenberg, because I've had to go onto the grass. A bit of a late braking maneuver down in towards turn 1, and that's going to lose me a lot of positions as we come back onto the track, nearly going into the path of the Lotus there of Roman Grosjean. Lots of drivers trying to get past me. I've got a Marussia right on my tail as well. Even been overtaken by a Caterham who's barging me all the way down in towards turn 2. Not really finding a gap at the moment. Trying to get past Roman Grosjean. Bit of a car parking spot at the moment. I've been pinned on the outside now. So what can I do is I've got to try and get past that Sauber driver. Now it looks like Marcus Ericsson has got me on acceleration. What a terrible start this has been to this Austrian Grand Prix. Starting in P12 and now dropping all the way down into what is P18, but now we've taken back P17 at the moment. Good start so far. We've got a couple of drivers getting involved with each other, and that gives me an opportunity to overtake both that Sauber and the Toro Rosso. We've got a Maldonado going slowly. That's not a huge surprise there. Maldonado backing off massively, nearly taking out his teammate. Not too sure what on earth was going there for Maldonado, just like blocking off his teammate completely. Luckily, we managed to avoid that and go around the outside and move up into P14. Nearly back where we were in today's race, running a little bit wide once again. We are a bit slow, unfortunately, in towards the last 2 corners. We need to sort that out over the rest of this race. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get back up into a good point scoring position, as it looks like Maldonado is actually getting away from us, but he went for an attack on the Toro Rosso, and that's put him under pressure from myself. So here we are, following in the slipstream of Maldonado, but not able to do anything. Look how fast that Lotus is. It hasn't got Mercedes power. I don't think it's got Mercedes power actually in it. We go up the inside anyway, in towards turn 2, and there we go, job done on Pastor Maldonado. Nice and simple move, and we are up into P13, looking now to close up to the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Danny Kvyat going very defensive in towards that fast left-hander. Look at that move around the outside on Danny Kvyat. What an overtake that was there on the Toro Rosso driver, maximising the exit as well through the double left-hander. And there we go, up into P12. This is where we started from, so that's so far so good in today's race, getting back up to where we were. But now we need to push on and close up on the guys ahead of me. Looks like there is a bit of a train a little bit further up the road, so if I can catch up to those guys, we can get a decent result. That's exactly what we need to be doing if we want to catch up to these guys ahead of me. And it looks like there's been a collision down in towards turn 1. Somebody's lost their front wing. Is it that Force India of Nico Hülkenberg? I'm not entirely sure. I need to be aware just in case he brakes very sharply down in towards turn 2. Here we go, up the inside of both these guys. Can we get Jenson Button as well? Not quite. Nearly going into the back of the McLaren driver. Great move there from Nico Hülkenberg. Bit of a switchback maneuver from the Force India driver. Can he get the job done on me, though, all the way down in towards turn 2? He's got a Mercedes in the back of that Force India car. Looks like I've got the job done, though, on Nico Hülkenberg. And moving up into P11. Now hunting down this McLaren of Jenson Button. What is he going to do? Down towards the left hand. He's going to go defensive. Similar move now on what I did on Danny Kvyat, round the outside of the first left-hander. And there we go. Job done on Jenson Button. Up into the points now for this Austrian Grand Prix and hunting down Sergio Perez. Oh, we've got Kevin Magnussen going very slowly down in towards turn 2. That's put me right on the back of Sergio Perez. Unfortunately, though, he's going to get DRS, but he did not get a good exit out of turn 2. So that gives me greater pace than Sergio Perez all the way down in towards turn 3. And a bit of a late braking maneuver there on Sergio Perez just to get the job done. And that also puts me right on the back now of Sergio Perez. So here we are in towards his left-hander. Can I do what I did on Kvyat and Jenson Button to Kevin Magnussen? Yes, I can. And there we go, moving up into P8 for this Austrian Grand Prix. And now catching up to the Williams driver of Valtteri Bottas. Right on the back of him. He's conserving energy down in towards the double right-hander. So this could really help me get the job done on Valtteri Bottas. Here we go in towards the final corner. Not a good exit from myself. We are going to get DRS on Valtteri Bottas. There is another driver coming into the pits at the moment. It's the other Williams of Felipe Massa. And we're just going to have to wait and see whether we can get the job done on Valtteri Bottas. Here we are on the tail now of the Williams driver, using all of our pace that we have available to us in the slipstream. Moving over to the right-hand side. We're going to have to brake later than Bottas down in towards this corner, which we do. And there we go. Job done on Valtteri Bottas. Moving up into P6 for this Austrian Grand Prix, and now trying to get Fernando Alonso. Okay, then we've closed in quite a bit to Fernando Alonso in the last couple of laps, but it is now pit stop time for this Austrian Grand Prix. So we're going to fly into the pit lane. Alonso's going to carry on with his race. Into the pit lane we come, and right behind this Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel. Unfortunately, though, his pit box is before us, so we're going to come into the pits, and hopefully it is a good pit stop from the crew. We don't get held up by anybody. No, we don't. 3.7 second stop, and there we go, coming out just behind Sebastian Vettel once again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the undercut works on Fernando Alonso. But here we are, coming out of the pit lane. Just need to make sure that we don't go into the barrier at the end, which we don't. That was very close, locking up the brakes. But here we are now, right on the tail of Sebastian Vettel. Can we get past the Red Bull driver down in towards turn 3? We're going to have a good opportunity to brake very late in towards this next corner. Of course, these tyres are cold, so we do have to be aware of that. But on the exit, not too bad at the end of the day, using DRS on Sebastian Vettel. But can we get the job done down in towards turn 3? Let's wait and see. Following in the slipstream, I don't think we're going to be close enough. We go for a dive bomb move up the inside. There's a little bit of contact between the two of us, and I am going to give him that position back. There you go, Sebastian Vettel. You might as well take that position back, because I did kind of barge out the way. But now he's going defensive down in towards left-hander. Can we get the job done through here? We're going to try it. Side by side with Sebastian Vettel. Will he back off? No, he doesn't. I have to give him the room up the inside. And there we go. Job done on Sebastian Vettel. Moving up into 9th place ahead of the Red Bull driver. And now hunting down anybody who has come into the pit stops now. Right then, who is in the pit lane here on lap 8 of this Austrian Grand Prix? We've got a couple of guys, including my teammate of Fernando Alonso, but he's going down in towards turn 1 at the moment. So will I get the job done on Alonso? Don't think so, but we are going to have a better run down in towards turn 2. So here we are, following in the slipstream of Alonso. He's conserving energy. Here we are on the right-hand side of my teammate, braking later than down in towards turn 2. And there we go, job done on Alonso on these fresher, warmer tyres than he's got. And moving up into P5. But I feel like there are still a few guys left to pit in this race. Okay, then we've got a driver into the pits now. So that's going to promote me back up into P4 for this Austrian Grand Prix. It's Danny Kvyat who decided to stay out a little bit long. We've got Nico Rosberg behind the other Red Bull driver of Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. So I've run it a little bit too wide down in towards turn 1. Rosberg, if he can carry on battling with Daniel Ricciardo, that will allow those two drivers to come back. We've got a lap driver at the moment in today's Austrian Grand Prix. It's Adrian Sutil, who we get out of the way of nice and cleanly. Looks like Nico Rosberg is backing off quite a bit in towards the final two corners. I messed up the final corner just a little bit there. However, we are close enough for DRS. Although, it looks like Fernando Alonso is also close enough for DRS. Down in towards turn 1, braking later than my teammate, getting the car turned in. And there we go, just about holding on to 4th place at the moment. Closing up to Nico Rosberg, but I've got Alonso all over the back of my tail at the moment. However, we do know that we can brake later than him in towards these corners, which is good news. It's a good trait to have. As long as we can brake later than these guys, we will definitely have the chance of getting past them later on in the race. And we've got a bit of a gap now to Fernando Alonso, which is good news, so we can focus on catching up to Nico Rosberg. Nico Rosberg once again going for the attack on Daniel Ricciardo. It doesn't look like it's worked this time around either. Now that's put me right on the tail of the Mercedes driver. Can I do anything down in towards turn 2? Here we are, braking later than Nico Rosberg up the inside of the Mercedes driver, squeezing him out on the exit. And there we go, job done on Rosberg, getting DRS thanks to the overtake there on the Mercedes driver. But now, can we get past Daniel Ricciardo for P2? Lewis Hamilton for the race win. Looks like it's definitely out of our reach, but Daniel Ricciardo certainly isn't. I'm going to put it down in towards standard mix because we are running out of fuel. But we do need to still try and push to catch up to Ricciardo. Damn it. The back marker just moves out of his way so cleanly down in towards this corner here. Unfortunately for Nico Rosberg, it looks like he may have blocked him off a little bit, but not enough for our liking. So it looks like, unless anything major happens in these last two laps, I'm not going to get P2. But Nico Rosberg could certainly still take away P3 from us. So we do have to be careful. We still have to push in this race and make sure that we stay ahead of Nico Rosberg. Here we go then. Final lap of this Austrian Grand Prix. And I've got Nico Rosberg all over my tail at the moment, going down in towards turn 1. What can the Mercedes driver do to get past us? And what can we do to try and get past Daniel Ricciardo? I don't think we can do anything because Ricciardo is just so far up the road at the moment. But we're just going to keep on pushing, see whether a miracle could happen. Well, you never know. We might catch up to a slow-moving back marker, and that could give us the chance to get past him. However, I don't feel like that's going to happen. I feel like Daniel Ricciardo is definitely going to hold on to his position as Rosberg has a little look up the inside, down in towards turn 2. But unfortunately for him, just can't go for that maneuver. And he actually backs off quite a bit to give us an at least 5/10 gap now to the Mercedes driver. But through this double left-hander, we just need to keep it clean, hit every apex, not make any mistakes, and stay ahead of Nico Rosberg. 1 second now is the gap to Nico Rosberg as Lewis Hamilton wins today's Austrian Grand Prix. That's really going to help him extend his lead in the championship and also extend his lead over us. It wasn't exactly the best of races today as I've run it very wide into the final corner. It's going to give Rosberg a great run down towards the line, just about getting third place there, really putting ourselves into the firing line right at the end of the race. That was a close one, but we get the job done. We finish in third place and we are onto the podium for our fourth race in a row. What a season this is starting to turn into. Ricciardo into second place as well. Good result for the Red Bull driver. But Lewis Hamilton extends his lead in the championship as he wins today's race with Daniel Ricciardo in second, myself in third, Rosberg just missing out in fourth place with Sebastian Vettel fifth, and Fernando Alonso in the end finishing in sixth. Couldn't quite hold on to that fifth position. Sergio Perez, he finished in seventh with Jenson Button eighth and Kevin Magnussen ninth. And Danny Kvyat once again scoring points for the Toro Rosso team. So well done to him with Felipe Massa and Pastor Maldonado just missing out on the points. Our DNFs for today were Nico Hulkenberg on the final lap of the race and Esteban Gutierrez very early on. Anything else really to talk about? Not really, no real surprises apart from Marcus Ericsson finishing in P16 and Jules Bianchi in 17th. So good result for both of those two. Yes, it was a good race for us at the end of the day. A good race, a good comeback to get into P3. You know, we had a terrible start, dropping all the way down into, I think it was like 18th place at the start of the race, and then somehow managed to just work our way through the field. We had some really good pace here today. Didn't quite have that pace towards the end. I think once the rich mix sort of wore out, then we kind of struggled, but still really quick, setting the fastest lap of the race as well, just about beating Lewis Hamilton's lap time there. But yeah, third place, a really decent result. Looking at the Drivers' Championship then, after 8 rounds of this season, we're still in third. We beat everybody apart from Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton. So we have closed up the gap to Nico Rosberg. The gap is now 43 points to the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, the gap to Lewis Hamilton has gone back up to 58 points. So not exactly the best of gaps at the moment, but we've still got a long way left to go. We're not even at the halfway stage of the season, so we've got a long way left to go, and there is every opportunity to try and close up that gap once more. Constructors' Championship then, the gap to Mercedes is 117 points at the moment. That is a big old gap for Ferrari to try and catch up. We are still ahead though of Red Bull by a sizable amount, so I'm very, very happy with that. Although Red Bull did have a better race than us here today, it's still a pretty decent result. But that is it for today's Austrian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And I will see you next time at the British Grand Prix, I want to say. But until then, it's goodbye from me.